much for your time for us here at TRT World. Now, what can the world learn from the Israel's vaccination program?
Well, number one, you need to get needles and jabs in arms as quickly as possible. So Israel's success is really much built on the speed and effectiveness of its entire vaccination campaign. Like you said, in 2 months, nearly 4 million people, over 4 million people in a population of 9 million people have already gotten at least one shot. Something like 89% of those over 60 years old, the highest risk age group, as we know from the virus, have already been fully vaccinated. So number one, you have to do it very quickly. And also, as Israel is learning right now, you have to reopen quite gradually. And that's the reason why they've instituted now this green passport scheme. It remains to be seen how effectively Israelis actually follow those guidelines. And hopefully the vaccine, as you also mentioned, is as effective as we've seen here on the ground.
Right. Now, the priority in Israel, like everywhere else, is to make the vaccines work. Now, the Israeli officials say the Pfizer sees their country as an ideal testing ground. Why is that?
Well, for starters, Israel, one of the reasons it was so quick in actually launching the vaccine rollout was because of its public health system. So every citizen here is a member of at least one of 4 HMOs, health maintenance organizations, and it's fully digitalized. So you can track what age groups are getting vaccinated, their medical history for any pre-existing conditions, and then in the future, if they test positive. And so studies now in the real world on the ground here in Israel have shown through hundreds of thousands of studies and cases of those vaccinated as well as those that have not been vaccinated, that the vaccine is actually quite effective, and as effective to 95% denying the virus as the drug makers marketed it.
What about the Palestinians? When will they benefit from the Israel's vaccination success?
That's a great question. Israel has been providing some vaccines to both the West Bank and Gaza. It will, I believe, in future facilitate entry of vaccines that the Palestinians themselves have purchased from either drug makers or the World Health Organization. And perhaps as soon as this week, Palestinian laborers that work inside Israel proper will be vaccinated, hopefully directly by the Israeli government. But you're absolutely right. In coordination with the Palestinian authorities, whether in the West Bank or Gaza, Israel should be providing at least some support. Because as we know, it's one medical and physical and geographic ecosystem. And so Israel really can't be fully protected from the virus until Palestinians themselves are vaccinated.
Neri Zilber, thanks so much for that. He's a journalist and fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy.